Okay, second video for the week here. You get to see my smiling face off the glare. Anyway, besides that, we're going to look at a crack detection screen versus the conductivity screen, which we already went through the conductivity screen. So now, if we were just to touch 7075 T6 here, and then touch this, okay, we realize that's the same material. Okay? So what we're concerned with is how to get just crack signals alone from this piece. Okay, we see real easy, there they are. But if we touch the back of this, okay, we get the same signal. So that's telling us that we're at least, this part is at least thicker than 3 standard depths. So if we look here, we just want to null, because now we want to make it as much sensitive or as high a sensitivity as we can just off of this block. So looking at the conversion or looking at the impedance change from air to the piece is not as good. We want to see the impedance change from the piece to the crack. So we're going to null on the part this time. Okay, we're still at 50 and 50. We're going to take our gains just for fun right now up to about 55. I know that's not going to be the best signal, but we're just looking at what it's actually going to look like. Okay, so now we're nulled on the piece. There we go. Okay, and just that quick we got larger signals than we had before. But we want to take all of this and park it down here, so that way, at least for me, I can see where these signals are coming from. So I'm going to go display, screen setup, horizontal position 90, vertical position 10, and if I just null, it's going to take it over there. Okay, now I'm nulled in air, that's not a huge deal. If I re-null on the part, okay, that works. So I'm going to go back to main, frequency 1, and I'm going to rotate my angle to where everything is going straight to the left at this point. Like that, or at least close to straight to the left. So I'm going to re-null. Okay, going straight to the left. That's what we want. Got crack signals. We want to spread them out a little bit. So we want to add some vertical gain. I just like to run it up about 10 dB higher, just for me, so I can see the difference between those. I'm going to re-null again. Okay, got more information now. Okay, now it's not as pretty because I didn't move near as fast, and I've added more gain, so the signal's more squirrely. But I do have larger signals. But I want to see if we can't possibly clean that up a little bit. Whoops, I pushed the wrong button. I want to go to filters. I want to take I want to turn a preamp on, which is just an amplifier. Just going to make the signal bigger. But I'm going to take my low pass filter and I'm going to run it up to about 200 here. Okay, we haven't gotten necessarily to high pass, low pass filters yet. There we go. So now you see the signal's huge. But since we changed our low pass filter, we're going to have to reset up here. So we'll go to angle. Okay. Everything's going pretty much horizontal. Null. Big signals. See, our 40,000 signal now is clear off the screen. So let's take our gain down to about 50 and 60. Re-null. Alright, I want to bring that up to where we're pretty much in the corner. Like that. Okay, 8 thousandths, nice big signal. 20 thousandths, 40 thousandths. So now we can size these cracks, or at least give some kind of an attempt to size these cracks, because not always are these cracks going to be 8 thousandths deep, 20 thousandths deep, and 40 thousandths deep. They're going to be bigger, wider, thinner, taller, whatever. So we want to give some relative size in relationship to our crack block. So we can say if we have a crack that falls in between these two lines, okay, we know it's at least between 8 and 20 thousandths deep. Now, is that actually going to make us a huge difference? Well, in some cases it will, especially if you're dealing with aircraft skin. If you're dealing with welds and stuff like that, that's not necessarily a huge of a deal because you can grind the whole thing out. So, 8, 20, 40. So we can say, all right, if there's a crack that falls in between here, we know it's between 20 and 40, but you also see that the biggest jump is between 8 and 20. That's the biggest change here. And 20 and 40, that's a relatively large change, but that's still not as much of a change impedance-wise as 8 to 20, because that's where you're getting down to the bottom of those eddy currents, or towards the bottom, I should say, not necessarily at the bottom, but towards the bottom. Now what we want to look at, let's go to our 8,000 crack signal. Okay, and it's going to walk a little bit on us because I'm wobbling the probe and stuff. But I'm going to try and hold it as still as possible here, re-null, get me close back to where I started. Okay, there's my 8,000ths. I want to look at the signal from edge effect. Okay, you see that edge effect going way, way back up over the top of everything. So that tells me right off the bat, oh, I've got something different there, where I actually got close to the edge and it follows that signal back around, because it's going back towards air, because air is actually over here somewhere, way over there, but we're just looking at the end of the screen. We're actually looking at the end of that conductivity curve blown up. Okay, so now our screen's getting dirty and we can't see anything. So if I'm like, oh, okay, I'm scanning. Starts off looking like edge effect, but then it tries to clean itself back up. Same kind of thing, same kind of thing. So then if we're getting scanning over here, we can tell automatically that dot's walking on us. Okay, but we got a crack on the edge because we're against the edge. So our signal looks really, really silly, or really kind of crazy. So we're re-null. Okay, I'm going to move over here just towards the edge to where I start noticing that edge effect. Okay, about right in there. I'm going to walk onto that crack. Okay, I know I'm on the edge effect here, so I'm trying to hold this still, which is really tough. Okay, and there was my crack signal on the edge effect. So my crack is way up here now, but I'm actually parked out here in the middle because I'm in the middle of that edge effect. Okay, so something to look at, something to pay attention to when I'm actually inspecting this piece here. Okay, but other than that, very simple. 8, 20, 40. Let me just clear that off again. Whoops, I always forget to null on the part, which is important. 8, 20, 40. And there's my liftoff line. So, something to look at, something to think about. We're going to deal more with this. You're just looking at the basic stuff. I'm going to ask you some questions kind of like the lab bases that we did for ultrasonics, but we're going to do the same kind of thing for eddy current this week. Is just getting you oriented, ask you a couple of questions about it. And then next class, eddy current 2, we're going to do a lab, or I'll do a lab, and then put the questions online like we did before. So, again, if you have any questions over that, please feel free to contact me and we will help you out as best we can.